Hey everybody, it's Dak here from the Ed Boys, and welcome to the finale of the Wolf of the Grain Exchange. Pretty exciting episode we have today. First of all, we're making it to 100 mils, so that's kind of a big deal, right? This is actually the second time in my career that I've hit a 100 mil cash stack. Will be at the end of this episode, so pretty exciting news on that end. Also, I'll be trying a couple of new items and at least talking about all the new items that I have tried. That's actually the first things that I want to talk about are what items I used to flip from 80 to 100 mil. It wasn't a lot different. Some of the basic things like the Bandos chest plate, the Armadillo chain skirt, the Armadillo chest plate, Bandos tassets. Bandos tassets, I gotta say, they've been working the best. The tassets and the Armadillo chest plate are very consistent. Sometimes it's rough. I mean, I've definitely price checked the Armadillo chest plate for like a 15k profit margin. And I mean, that means I make like 90k from flipping all of them. If that were to only take 5 to 10 minutes, then yeah, you're making 400k an hour like that. But I don't know, that's not really great if I can find 100k profit margin. And then even if that takes me an entire hour, that's 580k an hour. So sometimes it sucks, but the most consistent ones so far have been the Bandos tassets and the Armadillo chest plate, at least for items around that price range. I've also tried some more expensive items that I'll actually be getting into more later in the episode, or at least you'll see me getting into it more later in the episode. But something like the Saradomin Godsword and the Armadillo Godsword, both being just under 50 mil. I can barely, for a while I wasn't able to flip two of them at once, but I still went for it because I could pretty commonly find like a 100k profit margin. But the ones you'll see at the end of this episode is when I'm at like a 99 mil cash stack. So I managed to flip two Saradomin Godswords at a time. That flip didn't particularly go great. I didn't get a lot of them going, and it wasn't a huge profit margin. But I did want to show you guys that I was able to flip two at a time. I know that was a pretty exciting moment for me because kind of a little guideline I like to go by for if I can flip an item yet is if I can buy multiple. If I'm only flipping one at a time, unless it's a killer profit margin, usually I don't like to do it. Something that I would do it with is a Dragon Warhammer. I haven't done a lot of Dragon Warhammers, and they've really been wishy-washy. I've lost money on it before. The first time I tried it, I got like a 200k profit margin and sold almost all of them. So I made a little over 1 mil on that one. I think, no, that would be exactly 1 mil. Maybe. Around 1 mil. I actually, I'd have to go back and look. But then one time I lost like 300k because the profit margin was huge, and I spent like an hour trying to get some to buy and sell, and it just never worked out. So it's a toss-up. It's kind of a risk, but that's kind of half the point. Once you get to this level is that there's a lot of risk, high risk, high reward kind of deal. I mostly tried flipping the Dragon Warhammer just because I know it's a new item. It was exciting to try. It's expensive, so maybe I could get kind of lucky with it, and it sometimes works out. So it's not something that I'm taking off the list by any means, even though I'm not quite at affording two yet. They're approaching, I think, back up to 60 or 70 mil at the moment. I don't know. I'd have to go look. Let me briefly list off just like 10 items or so that I've been making my money off of. I've quickly rambled about a couple, but let me give you an actual list. This is generally in range of least expensive to most expensive, but I'm not guaranteeing that. The Bandos chest plate and the Armadillo chain skirt have been pretty good ones because I can flip a good amount of them, and they usually have a good profit margin. Then there's the Armadillo chest plate and Bandos tassets. I kind of have those in the same level, even though the tassets are far more expensive. They seem to flip around the same profit margin and same rate. Then we have the three boots: Ranger boots, Pegasian boots, and Primordial boots. Those are the main ones that I'm working with. There's also, you have the Pegasian crystal. Excuse me, not the Pegasian crystal. The reason the Pegasian boots are so expensive is the Ranger boots are very expensive, and the Primordials are so expensive because the Primordial crystal is also very expensive. The crystal is something you can work with. I've tried it a couple times. It's kind of tough though because not a lot of people are trading it. The boots are traded much more often because once you turn the crystal into boots, they're boots now. That's how it works. All of those, they're sometimes slow moving. I would say the Primordials generally have the lowest profit margins, but are really consistent. The Rangers and the Pegasians, one time I had a 500k profit margin with Pegasians, but it was really short-lived, and I only made like 800k off of it because I had to drop one down. But it was just kind of a crazy price check, so I don't know. Those are more the high risk, high reward also, even though they're not quite 30 mil compared to the Ceradoman Godsword or the Dragon Warhammer, which are, I mean, the Warhammer's double the price. I could buy 2 boots for every Warhammer and still have some money left over. The next items would have to be up in the 40 mil range. I don't think I've flipped a single item between 30 and 40 mil, because off the top of my head, I can't think of one that like any item that costs that much money. But the 40 to 50 mil range would be the the Abyssal Bludgeon, which honestly has been rough. Both the Abyssal Bludgeon and the Abyssal Dagger are like real toss-ups, and it's pretty much 50-50 if I'm going to make or lose money. That's kind of a rough risk, because it's generally not a lot of money when I make it. But the Abyssal Bludgeon, the Ceradoman Godsword, and the Armadale Godsword are all between 40 and 50 mil, and I would say the Ceradoman Godsword of those three works the best. It seems to always have like 90 to 100k profit margin, and I very rarely can't flip all 8 of them. I guess 7 if I'm price checking one of them. The Armadale Godsword, on the other hand, it seems to very often have like a 15k profit margin, but occasionally I find one that's really wild and I can make 250k off of like 3 or 4 of them. And, making a mil off of one item, it's kind of a nice payday. And for the last group of items, these are the ones that I really have not experimented with that much because of how expensive they are, but ones that I would like to try, and I guess one that I have tried. The Dragon Warhammer is in here. Like I said, I've done it a couple times, and it was a little wishy-washy. I think overall I've made money on it, so that's positive, but it was a little sketchy, I'm not going to lie. The other items would be the Spirit Shields. First of all, the Spectral Spirit Shield, which is in the 50 mil range. These are ones that I haven't tried yet, so I don't know the exact numbers. There's also the Arcane Spirit Shield, which is, I would guess, the 70 mil range at the moment. I'd have to look. And then there's the Elysian Spirit Shield, which is like 1 bill, so that's not included, obviously. If I get to a point where I can flip Elysian Spirit Shields, oh man, wouldn't that be great? Anyways, I'm getting off track. You guys are distracting me. Those are the big ones. The Spectral Spirit Shield, Arcane Spirit Shield, Dragon Warhammer. There's not a lot of items up in that range, and really anything that you find that expensive or more that you can try to flip, I'm assuming, because I haven't actually done it, it's really just all a risk and reward. Like, I mean, I guess all of flipping is, I shouldn't say that, but it's really high risk and reward. You could really blow it and price check something, find a 1 mil profit margin, and then it turns out nobody is buying and selling those, so you just lost 1 mil in like 8 seconds for nothing. It's not like you spent 1 mil on prayer, you just dropped it, basically. But at the same time, you could find a 1 mil profit margin and suddenly trade 5 of them, and you made 5 mil in an hour, which would be great. It would have taken me 2 days to make this 100 mil. But instead, I do have some numbers on it. This took me just under 3 months. I believe I'm in my 6th bond. I stopped showing you guys the bonds. You guys got it. Every 2 weeks I was buying one, whatever. It ended up going through 6, just about 3 months. I think I have like 4 days left in this one. I bet I could have done it faster, and now that I've done it, I bet I could really do it faster. But I'm not upset with 3 months making 100 mil. The road to 100 mil took like 9 months to record, so this was far faster and a lot simpler. Once you really get into flipping, it's actually very AFK. It's not as magically AFK as cannonballs, which are, you always know when your cannonballs are going to be done, so you know when you're going to have to look back at the screen, whereas with flipping, it could be any second, but it could also take 5 minutes of you not doing anything, so you never know. But it's very convenient being AFK. I definitely was able to do other things while I was flipping, which is good because I spent way too many hours flipping. It was like every day for 3 months. Not really. It wasn't that bad. But now that I'm approaching 100 mil, I gotta say, I feel like I've learned a lot, but at the same time, I feel like I'm not an expert. A lot of it is still guess and check. I've clearly made 100 mil from it, as we're about to be hitting, and I'm very excited about. But I don't know, I could be quicker at it. I'm still not making profits that are like mind-blowingly amazing. I think the best hour I had was 1.5 mil, and I just found a couple of nice profit margins. I think the Armadale chest plate was one of the big ones. Now, what you're going to see here, I don't suggest. I had a pretty good flip going with Dragonfire shields, and I'm about to abort this offer, even though I know this last one will buy and sell probably in like 10 minutes. It's 100K that I'm not making from it, but the only reason I'm doing this is because grabbing this money right now, right here, I get to 100 mil. Very exciting. I honestly was very skeptical when I started. Trying to flip from 1K to 100 mil, thought I was out of my mind. I still think I'm a little bit out of my mind, but it was fun. I enjoyed it. Look, I even made an extra 100K. I probably could have aborted earlier and shown you guys the money. I'm sorry. It's late because no, I'm just kidding. I gotta thank everybody for the support that you've all been giving. Again, this was all pre-recorded, so I actually don't know how much you guys were enjoying this series at this moment, but I hope you guys liked it. I know that I liked it very much. I believe there'll be more. I do want to do this again. I want to go even higher with these flipping items. I mean, I've only barely tried Dragon Warhammers. I want to get to items that are really crazy to flip. So I guarantee you there will be more Wolf of GE, but you're gonna have to be patient. It's gonna be a little while. I gotta think about it. Other than that, guys, I really hope you enjoyed. I know that I did, and I'll see you next time.